What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Mark with the Bettor Mark, and let's get into today's exciting college basketball slate. Yet again, we are back in action, keeping the ball rolling, improving upon yesterday's 4-1 slate. That's where we almost got the brooms out. I'm going to recap those picks as we almost swept the board with a clean 5-0, albeit just in overtime holding us back. But let's get into it. And before we do, let's take care of some business, guys. Make sure you guys are all subscribed down below here on YouTube as well as on X. Smash that like button. Absolutely destroy it, if you will. And this is where we're going to get into March. I'm going to be running a lot of exciting giveaways and contests. So make sure you guys are subscribed on all platforms, guys, because once we hit March, I'm going to drop some giveaways. Very exciting time, one of my favorite times of the year, and I'm really trying to get the ball rolling. Over 500 subs, crossed that threshold yesterday. I was really hoping it would happen earlier in the day because I was looking to go live and do some kind of 500 subscriber giveaway or just something cool going live when I was at the sports book. But that's something we're going to get into later on. But make sure you guys are all subscribed down below. Like I said, never miss a beat when we talk sports here on the channel. But let's get into today's plays and just quickly recap yesterday. Kansas State money line, never really in question. Penn State minus 3.5. That was one of my stronger plays of the day, as well as UNLV money line. Wasn't really a sweat until we got out of the first half, and able to close on that one as well. Connecticut, Danny Hurley getting his guys ready, really in a bounce back spot. I really love that line. Fishy that it didn't move off of that 12.5, but I was able to get a 12 actually even closer to tip off, which was really surprising. And that was one where they won with margin as well. And like I said, guys, the only loss that we had on the day was that overtime ended up with the under in overtime, and you can't really handicap unders in overtime. So that was how that played out, and albeit the Baylor-Houston overtime game that would have led us to a clean 5-0 sweep on the day. So for those of you that were out there and tailed the picks, congratulations. Enjoy some of those rewards, but we're going to keep it going into today's card because, guys, this is one where I absolutely have some strong indications, strong plays. It's a smaller slate. I love the smaller slate, but let's get down into it, guys. And this is where we're going to look at the card, and I'm going to go through all these picks. Let's start off with Creighton and St. John's. This is one, guys, where you look at the Blue Jays, right, coming off of that impressive win at home against UConn. Now they travel on the road. Rick Pitino's crew at St. John's. This is a fishy alert line. But, guys, I have to play it. I have to absolutely play it because maybe it's a sucker bet. Maybe it is. But this is one where we look into Creighton, and it's two teams trending in the opposite direction, okay? This is one where we see Creighton 14-3 against the spread, St. John's 12-15 against the spread. I don't really have a strong reason why, but Creighton minus 2.5, the number hasn't moved. That's something where we look into the Blue Jays. I'm willing to lay that 2.5, possibly even take a little bit of money line with Creighton just to protect it. But these are two teams, like I said, guys, in opposite directions. Creighton trouncing UConn. I know that's an outlier, okay? I know that's an outlier, and it's not a performance that is expected to be repeated. But, guys, they took on Butler on the road, cashing at Butler, winning by margin, destroying Georgetown 94-72, okay? And then we saw the likes of taking on Xavier, winning on the road there, and that was on their last 4 games, guys. They were on a hot streak, and Creighton is one of those teams where they get the jump shooting on track and they start cashing threes and cashing buckets, they're a really hard team to beat regardless of the venue, okay? And St. John's coming off of a 90-85 win, giving up 85 points to Georgetown at Georgetown. That's one where I think these are two teams trending in opposite directions. St. John's is fighting tooth and nail to get into the tournament, whether they give Rick Pitino that nod just because of his pedigree and what he can bring from a rating standpoint, that's yet to be determined. But, guys, I just don't see it here. I don't see it. I have to do it. I'm going to lay the minus 2.5, maybe a little bit on the money line as well within the Creighton Blue Jays taking on at St. John, okay? Next, we're going to get into a couple other plays. This is where we look at the card even further. We're going to go down the list and get into the Purdue-Michigan game, okay? And I'm only going to have 4 plays for you guys. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to try to get to 5. I went through, did my research last night, did my analysis and breakdown, and I really only got the 4. So I'd like to give you guys best bets and leans for every single game, but I'm not going to force it and make you guys look at stuff that I don't absolutely feel for my own, my own sake, if you will, okay? But Purdue, losing to Ohio State. And ever since then, guys, the rest has been history. Purdue is not a team that I like to back time and time again. It's one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams where, if they don't get it going inside, they have trouble catching back up, really working that offense through Zach Edey. It's something where, they have some weaknesses in that regard. It's too much of a one-dimensional attack from Purdue. But this is one where these are definitely two teams in opposite directions. Michigan is a walking, talking dumpster fire. And we look at something as an underdog, 21% as an underdog. Michigan against the spread, 7-20, 25% on the year as a dog. And this is where we look at some of the recent performances. Purdue beating Rutgers 96-68 in that get-right game. They had that hiccup to Ohio State. I think they're going to get the wheels back on track. And this is something where we saw even with Connecticut, guys, what we talked about last night with the game against Villanova. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes you want to get that loss out of the way before their respective conference tournaments. Leading into March, this is what you want. You want that hiccup. Well, Purdue had theirs at Ohio State, and UConn had theirs at Creighton. I know Creighton and Ohio State are two different teams in two different directions as well, but it's still the point, and you guys get that, okay? But Michigan losing at Northwestern, okay, losing by 14, losing by margin. We were on Northwestern in that ball game, actually. Losing to Michigan State, getting trounced by Illinois at Illinois, okay. And I know Michigan's at home, but it's something where, guys, this is where we're going to be taking the Purdue Boilermakers minus 13, okay. This is something where we saw Purdue beat Michigan by 32 points back on January 23rd already. This is where, a lot of the players had to, rest in the second half because it was just completely out of reach from the get-go. So something where there isn't going to be really too much of a history within, a lot of times beating a team twice is a task, and it's a battle. Trying to get that second win in a season series, it's a little harder to beat a team twice, they always say. But in this regard, they never really got to see him the first time out because it was such a bloodbath, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be laying 12.5 Purdue on the road. And this is something, guys, where you look at Michigan, guys, 15 of their last 17 games, they've failed to cover against the spread. So let's back the Boilermakers in this contest, okay? And then next, we're going to get into another play that I have on this card. This is Cleveland State at Robert Morris, okay? This is one where you look at a over-under 147. Cleveland State laying 1.5. We're going to be taking that money line in this contest. All right, that's simply put, Cleveland State money line, and we look at some of the betting splits. This is where you have to look at the handle, guys. We have 77% of the money early indication going on Cleveland State, and 63% of the public is taking Robert Morris at home. Late in the season, guys, I'm not in the business of taking points, laying points on the road, regardless of class. It's just something where it's not a good idea to do. But in this regard, guys, we look at previous matchups. We look at this spread. Robert Morris at home, 66-64. Cleveland State just edging out Robert Morris at home. Okay, this isn't a huge travel spot for Cleveland State. This is just right down the road. It's not a huge road game. Robert Morris, though, guys, two different teams in opposite directions. Cleveland State's coming off a loss, one where I really like them to bounce back in a strong way. Robert Morris losing 3 in a row by absolute margin. 10 to Youngstown State. 30 to Wright State, and 20 to Oakland. Okay, I really like this play with Cleveland State. Unless I'm missing something that somebody else knows with an injury concerns, so on and so forth, I am strongly leaning towards Cleveland State on the road money line as well. So that's where I'll be taking Cleveland State to get it done on the road, taking on Robert Morris, laying that 1.5. Okay, and let's get back into the fourth and final play on tonight's card. We're going to go down the board to FAU, taking on Memphis, going on the road. A lot of road teams today, guys, and that's okay. That's okay. That's why I said I'm not going to force it. I'm going to give you guys my 4 best bets in analysis, and this is where we see the recent Final Four team. Look at this. Look at this little regression: 13-14 against the spread on the season. 48% cover team, and Memphis is no better, right? This is where we're seeing 33% for the Memphis Tigers. And what we look at this, guys, this is something where you have to understand within this game. Okay, within this game, we are going to be laying FAU another 1.5 point favorite, but we are taking that money line as well. We're not going to lose by 1 and lose our bet. We're going to cash the ticket. This is where I like FAU to bounce back. In Memphis, guys, you have to understand something. They just had their center suspended. This is going to be a huge struggle now for Memphis to get it done. And this is one where they're starting to wave the white flag a little bit. FAU had a scare midweek, able to bounce back in a strong way, coming back and really, narrowing that lead and really coming back. I think that game, I don't know what the actual outcome was, but I remember watching it come across. This is where we saw it was SMU, right? Ending up winning 80-70. It's something where, that's a huge win at home. Okay, so the form is there. Memphis, opposite direction. Okay, they lost to SMU 106-79 back on February 18th. And like I said, FAU able to win by 10, and really never a doubt in that contest. Okay. They had a little scare, though, against South Florida, so I think FAU has gotten right. This is where they came back, like I said, down 25 points in that South Florida matchup, and almost winning almost winning, but ended up losing 86-90. So I really like FAU in this spot. So a lot of 1.5s out there. So don't be afraid to wait for that one to flash. Take that money line. Don't lose a bet by one in failing the cover. It's all about cashing the tickets. That is what it's all about. But I wanted to give you guys my 4 best bets and what I'll be playing today from the college basketball card. Let's keep this momentum going, guys, as we enter the tournament. But like I said, remember to subscribe down below. Smash that like button as well. If you guys have any comments, want to leave any feedback for the channel, stuff you guys are on for today, all will be appreciated. And like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of contests on X to kick off this March Madness in 2024. So make sure you guys are all subscribed on X. Follow me there as well as on YouTube. But I thank you guys for being part of the team, and we'll see you all in the next video. Go cash some tickets.